Welcome to Stretford, Paddock. I'm Ronaldo Brown and I'm back at Old Trafford with the news. I'm a couple of days removed now from the Europa League final defeat and it's still a little bit gloomy. I'm still a little bit upset and I think it's lingering for quite a while. I think it's one of them, with it being the final game of the season, it's put a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth going into the transfer window. But if anything, it kind of reiterates what needs to happen at the club in terms of a kind of progression in recruitment and bringing in some style players where we can actually compete at the very top level in the Champions League next season and make that push to compete with City in the league as well. I know that everyone's disappointed. I know that everyone's a little bit down in the dumps. But if anything, we can take it as an incentive to make sure that we get the right recruitment in this summer and we kind of challenge again. And I think everyone's seen my comments on how the Europa League final went. I don't think the players turn up. Ollie made it abundantly clear that this season, finishing second place, basically being runner-up in the Europa League, is progress, but it definitely isn't success. So with the transfer window coming around the corner, United are definitely going to have their foot in the door in terms of bringing some players in. I hope so anyway, and I know that you hope so back home. We'll have to see if that materialises, and we've definitely got some transfer news to speak about, some contract kind of negotiations and rumours and murmurings around Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Pogba to speak about in the news right about now as well. And without further ado, before it starts raining on my head, because it's a little bit gloomy out here, it's a little bit overcast, I'm going to get into the news. And with the first bit of news is surrounding Ole, and with the season basically coming to a close and people having mixed opinions on whether the season was a success or whether it was just merely a little bit of gradual progress or whether it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it's one of those where I feel like the board and they have a belief in him, and they've shown that because according to the Telegraph, Solskjaer is set to hand Solskjaer a new 3-year deal and will be backed with funds in the forthcoming transfer window, with Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho being identified as a primary target with the club's failure to sign him last window. With Solskjaer, who is on £144,000 a week, has guided United to successive top 4 league finishes, and he'll be playing in the Champions League again next season. And I know that I want to know all your opinions on whether you believe Ole should be handed a new 3-year deal. And people must realise or must know that even if he does get an extension and he gets another season to kind of show if he can actually make that step up, it does mean that United still have the possibility to get rid of him, go in a different direction and get a different manager if needs be, if progress isn't seen at United. So it's not one of them where if he gets a 3-year extension, that means 3 years of definitive Ole. It just means that, unfortunately, United will have quite a big payout if they do end up getting rid of him. And in terms of my opinion, people need to realise that when it comes to Ole and his management, something that he does excel at is man management. The way he's handled the likes of Greenwood, got Pogba back around, and the kind of camaraderie and ethos that he's built at the club in terms of everyone being kind of happy. You don't see anything negative going around the club. It's very family orientated around the squad, and there's a nice little vibe and a very likeable bunch, and I think that's a testament to Ole, really. And I think that's an underrated part of management, and I think that's what he's really, really good at. I know that people have the criticisms about Ole as a tactician and whether his substitutions and the way he kind of sometimes navigates a game, which I don't think he's terrible at either. Whether we've got kind of a philosophy or a style of play, sometimes people may criticise, which I do disagree with. I think that we have a dynamism. We play on the counter. There's a little bit. I know there's been a lot of talk about whether we don't have a clear identity, but I think there is one, to be honest with you. I think there's sometimes a little bit of limitations to Ole in terms of his management, in terms of when it comes to tactics and that. But when it comes to a man manager, which is something that is very, very underrated and very important, I think he does excel at that, and I think sometimes he doesn't get enough credit. Whether he's got what it takes to kind of take us to the next level, it remains to be seen. I think he does deserve maybe another season or 2 to see how he kind of goes ahead, if he does get the backing in the summer, and hopefully he does, and we'll have to see how that materialises. But I'm definitely not an Ole outer. I do have belief in him, and I think it's normal as a United fan, or as a positive fan anyway, to look at it as if someone's a manager for my club, I'm going to back him and I'm going to want him to do well, I'm going to want my club to do well, and that's the way that I see it. But let me know what you think in the comments about this rumour that Ole might be getting a 3-year extension at United. Do you believe that he should? Do you believe that United should go in a different direction? Let me know what you think in the comments. And with the second bit of news, it has also been reported by Alan Nixon. I think he's a writer for The Sun, so you make your mind up on how credible that is. that United will make a move for Atletico Madrid's Jan Oblak and let David De Gea go the other way as a part of the deal. And this is a bit of an interesting one because it's been a little bit of a goalkeeping controversy all season, especially in the latter stages between Henderson and De Gea, and they're both two keepers on very, very lucrative deals. And I know that apparently both of them are very uneasy about being a backup keeper next season, so if in all likelihood it's going to be down to United to make the option of are they going to keep De Gea, are they going to go Dean Henderson, or which way they're going to kind of go with that. And they do divide opinion in the fan base in terms of who you believe should actually take United forward. It's United's number one. And David De Gea didn't really do himself any favours with the way that he performed in the penalty shootout on the weekend. And I think that's what people remember. I know people believe you're only as good as your last game. They're going to forget all his good days and remember the fact that he's let in like 40 penalties in a row or something along them lines. And Dean Henderson might have been a better option in the penalty shootout. I know that a lot of people have got an opinion on that, and I believe that should have been the case also. But it's a bit of a strange one because I think David De Gea excels in certain areas that Dean Henderson doesn't, and vice versa. So it's one of them where if you merge the two, you'd have a perfect keeper. But unfortunately, you can't do that. Maybe if you merge the two, you'd get the likes of a Jan Oblak kind of mode. But if this is a deal that does get done, can you really argue with it? It's just going to be one of those where if you do bring Jan Oblak in and David De Gea does go the other way, what does that mean for Dean Henderson? Because I know that he doesn't want to be a number two. He doesn't want to be a backup. So it's just going to be a goalkeeping controversy all over again. And I think in terms of goalkeeper, it might be an issue in terms of it being a bit tetchy between the keepers and the clubs and not having a definitive number one. But I think there's other positions on the pitch that United need to focus on. I've mentioned CDM, I've mentioned centre-half. Obviously right wing with Jadon Sancho being probably not as important as the other two. It might not seem as luxurious, it might not seem as fancy, but I think a centre-half and CDM is where we need to go. I don't think a goalkeeper is something that United need to be prioritising in a summer window. But if you do get Jan Oblak in and David De Gea does go the other way, at this moment in time it's definitely an upgrade, but it doesn't really solve United's problems in a grand scheme of things. But let me know what you think. Would you like to see Jan Oblak at United? Would you like to see David De Gea go the other way? Who would you like to see as the number one? Who would you like to see United get rid of? Because it's a bit of a triangle there. Let me know what you think in the comments. And with the last bit of news, it's another contract negotiation situation, and it's surrounding Paul Pogba, where it has been rumoured by the Times that Paul Pogba is yet to open contract talks for United over an extension, even though his deal expires at the end of next season. United would like the central midfielder to stay, but if Pogba leaves, Donny van de Beek could take his place. And I think this Pogba kind of saga and scenario of will he leave and won't he, is something that always seems to come back and bite United in the arse. It seems to be a continuation, and it's something that starts to piss me off and starts to unnerve me a little bit, so I can only imagine what it does for the likes of United and us as fans. We're never sure whether Paul Pogba's committed to us or not. Sometimes he says he is, his actions of him and his agent sometimes says another thing, and it is largely frustrating. In a latter part of the season, we've saw the player that Paul Pogba is. Paul Pogba is definitely world class on his day. He offers an element that not many midfielders in world football does. He offers something in terms of quality and moments that a lot of the players at United can't do and can't actually do, or whatever. I basically repeated that, but you get my drift. And I think if you lose a player like Paul Pogba, you do lose a really, really good player. Does he kind of fit sometimes, or is he, as United in a latter stage of the season, some games kind of fell foul to the fact that we've tried to accommodate him in a way by putting him left wing and moving Rashford to the right and so forth? Does it sometimes upset the balance? Has Paul Pogba shown us enough in the midfield too? It's all down to opinion really, and it's definitely divided it. And I think it's one of those where the fact that Paul Pogba's got a year left on his contract and he hasn't opened talks in terms of an extension, even though he has said for the last 6 months or so that he would like to stay, it does seem as though it's up in the air whether he actually does see his future at United. Maybe he isn't happy with the progression. Maybe he wants to go elsewhere where he can win things, because obviously United aren't winning things in a moment. It's been since 2017, and you know what Paul Pogba is like. He's got lofty ambitions, and I think United should have them too. And I think a way of showing that would be extending Pogba, because what I wouldn't want to see is Pogba go somewhere else in Europe and then kick on and become this and show his world-class talent, and then kind of United look at it as if, why did we let him go? because right at this moment in time there's question marks over Donny van der Beek and the midfield area, so I don't think it's wise to let go of a midfielder of Paul Pogba's ilk. But if he doesn't want to stay and he doesn't want to commit his future to United, there's only so much that we can do. But in my opinion, I'd like to see Paul Pogba stay. I don't know what your opinion is. Let me know what you think in the comments. The fact that he's not extended it, the whole Raiola situation with him being, obviously I'm not going to call him what I wanted to call him on camera, but anyway, with what he's kind of been to the club over the years, I think it's a situation that needs to be dealt with sooner rather than later, and it doesn't linger and become an issue further on. But in terms of transfer window, it's going to be exciting. It should be anyway. You know that United are going to get linked with everyone. It's going to be transfer bingo day in, day out, and we're going to have it here on Stretford Paddock. We're going to be out here most mornings bringing you the news when it comes and reporting what we see, and hopefully United do get some signings in. We do see some progression. Kind of put this season behind us, take the progression, and hopefully get some success next season. But this has been it really. Back at Old Trafford, I'm Ronaldo as far as I'm concerned, as I always say, and I'll see you next time.